Imagine FM.
Just to start with, then, we're looking at the stats for Manchester and that kind of area up there. I just want to start with a majority of people suffer sleep problems when they're stressed. I mean, is that something that is something that you find surprising, or is it something that is quite expected?
I think it's quite expected in some respects. In the Manchester area, 72% said they suffered sleep problems when stressed, and it's one of the factors about stress. If you're stressed, you're stimulated, you're alert, your body's in fight or flight mode, so it's highly stimulated, and that is simply not the condition for being able to sleep. Of course, conversely, a lot of people say that they can't sleep, or when they can't sleep, they get stressed. Around a third of people in Manchester say when they can't sleep, they get stressed. So it's a bit of a vicious cycle.
Well, I wanted to ask, on that kind of basis, only 26% of people said that they felt were a good sleeper. So what can we do to help kind of relax?
I think the first step is to recognise when you're in a state that is stressing you out. Most people don't recognise when they're stressed because they're so used to being in that state. They've just adopted that as their normal state. If you're in a stress state, you will struggle to get a good night's sleep. You'll either struggle to fall asleep full stop, or you will fall asleep and you'll be tossing and turning during the night, or you'll wake up in the morning, you've had your 7 or 8 hours worth of sleep, but you feel like you've not slept at all. The key thing here is taking the time to wind down before we even get into bed. Anyone that has children will know how important it is to have a bedtime routine for your children. Giving them a bath, bedtime story, a lullaby, a warm drink, a cuddle, a massage, whatever it is. And there's certain things that you would avoid doing with a child at bedtime, like running around, playing games, watching television, giving them sugar, anything that's going to get them hyped up or stimulated. Now, we know this stuff is so important because we take such care and attention to do it with our children. Yet even though we come from the same species as those children, most people don't look after themselves with the same care and attention they look after their children with. So, think about what you would do to prepare a child for bed and what we can learn from that and how we can have some kind of a wind down routine towards the end of our day so we can also get a good night's sleep as well.
Why do you think September is such the time of the year that when a lot of people get more stressed?
I think September is a time of change. We've come to the end of the summer holidays. We've had the last bank holiday before Christmas. So we're facing a period when, the kids are going back to school or going off to college. People are going back to work and, the sort of, the workload gets significantly heavier in September. It's a time of change. So suddenly we've got all these pressures coming back on and loading themselves on us again. So, and the stress levels start in September, start to rise, and they carry on rising through towards Christmas, which is obviously another sort of stress trigger in the calendar. And surprisingly, over the winter months, we really don't like winter. We really do find this a stressful thing to deal with, the cold and the dark.
And of course, like we were saying there, that there's almost half of people in our region who say that they always feel stressed. Is that something that's a concern?
Yeah, from the various different studies we've run, the national average is around 90% of people at any one time say that they feel stressed. This is epidemic proportions. It's literally, a parasite that's impacting and affecting modern society. It leads to many physical, mental and emotional issues. 70% of all visits to the GP can be attributed back to stress, according to the NHS. So, this is something that as the pace of modern life increases, as the pressure and the demands that many of us are under is increasing day by day, we keep creating new technologies that are churning more and more information to us. We keep creating new social media channels and new ways of communicating, which again is just massively increasing the pressure that we're under, that most people are actually buckling under the excessive demands and pressure that modern life is churning at us. And this is common throughout the UK.
Do you think it's bizarre that Manchester's the lowest in the UK for people who say that having a good night's sleep relieves stress levels?
I think, it's always very difficult to identify some of the regional differences that come out in surveys such as this. So quite why people in Manchester don't see sleep as a route to relieving stress as much as elsewhere is difficult to say. They also, perhaps this is a good thing, they're in Manchester the lowest figures for people suffering from sleep disorders. So, whether or not that means that people in Manchester have got their sleep a little bit more under control than elsewhere, who knows? But maybe there are signs that is the case, and understanding that a quarter of people in the survey said that a good night's sleep is one of the best ways they know to relieve stress. But other ways are losing yourself in an interest or a hobby, or reading or watching TV. Doing something you enjoy, something that makes you happy, is obviously, actively seeking out those sorts of things is going to help.
That's great. Thank you very much. Just to finish, is there anything you'd like to add?
If you want any further information on being able to get a good night's sleep, visit thesleepcouncil.org.uk, and further information on how to relieve stress, go to www.stress.org.uk.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.